Right now our firewood cutting land here is nothing but a ice skating rink. So it's a little bit slippery, and we've exhausted all our firewood from our woodshed. So I've got some odds and ends of pallets I'm going to cut up for firewood so I can keep the stove stoked. So what I'm going to do is lay it up there. I hammered in some wedges. I got my electric saw. I'm just going to chop these up into quarters so we have a bit of firewood to fill up these buckets over here to keep the house warm. So we're all out of firewood other than this stuff here, and there's logs and branches to be had out in the woods, but for now this is easier. I'm just going to chop this up. This won't take very long, and then we'll have some firewood for the next couple of days. Now with all those pallet pieces cut up, now I can head over past the skating rink. We have a woodshed over here that we have long since cleared out, but there's some kindling in there. We got a bunch of kindling in here along with my wedges, some chainsaw parts, axe, sledgehammers, splitting things, all my tools. So I'm going to grab all this kindling. I got some room open in the bucket. I'm going to grab that and bring that in too. So this is our firewood stash. This is the last from our woodshed. We have a couple of buckets, and then I went in the back woods and I grabbed some branches, and now I'm cutting up pallet wood. So we have a pretty good supply back here to keep our stove going for now. It's convenient in the buckets because it catches any of the bark or the dirt or whatnot. So we've been keeping the fireplace going constantly in this cold weather. So that's in here in the living room. So you can see we just put our buckets next to the wood stove. This is a wood burning insert. So this just fits inside of our fireplace, and it has a fan that blows the hot air back into the house. So whenever I load it, you kind of stir around all the coals, because what you want to do when you do this is it causes all the wood ash to kind of go to the bottom of the pile and exposes a lot of the hot coals on the top. So I do that, and then when I lay the wood on top of those hot coals, they catch fairly quickly. And once it's caught real good, I can damp it down with this to slow the air down and do a slow burn and get a lot of heat coming out of it. If we leave it wide open to get it started, and then we shut it down to burn slow and steady. So you just throw it in. It's best to kind of stack it as tight as you can to get the longest burn. And what I like to do is put some of the smaller bits towards the bottom where the coals are. Those are thinner, they tend to catch quicker than the bigger pieces. So that's my technique. Everybody has a different way of getting it to work. You can see it's starting to smolder. So when it starts to smoke like that, it's imminent, going to burst into flames. So I try to pack it in as tight as I can on the sides, give that a chance to light. And key to a really long burn is just really pack this stuff in there. A lot of people like to cut their wood really big, and then you can't get anything else in there. And there's also we have fire starters called fat wood, which is basically pine that's full of resin, and that stuff burns really good when you're first starting the fire. That's what we'll put, like one piece in there and then a couple of these sticks. I can show you what that looks like. So this is fat wood right here. It's pine full of resin, and it lights really easy. And we will light a corner and throw it in there, and that acts kind of like as a fire starter. There we go. So light's fairly easy for a piece of wood that thick because it's got flammable resin in there. And what we would do is we would just throw it, once it's going pretty good, we would just kind of throw it in there, and that'll cause everything else to really take off. So I'll put more kindling on top of that. I want to guarantee this thing goes, because I'm going to go back outside and do some more firewood work. I don't really want to worry about this. So I'll just load it right up. I'll give it a 10-15 minutes to really get ripping, then I'll come in and I'll damp it down. So I just stuff this thing full. That's the best way to get a long burn. Like I said, you don't really, big pieces of wood are okay, but you can't pack it as tight, so you can't get as much fuel in there to last, like for overnight. I'll pack it up like this, and this thing will still be burning in the morning. This is pretty good system. I like to put a little kindling in here and there, just to kind of give it a little extra insurance it's going to catch. Sometimes pieces don't fit. Go something smaller. Get pretty close. There we go. So then I just take our little brush, anything that I kind of knocked out. I can take this little paintbrush, because I want this stuff gets stuck in this seal around the edge. So I'll take a little shovel, I just drop it in there like that. So you can see that thing's going pretty good already. So now what I'll do, I'm going to just close this up. And there's like a carburetor thing down on the bottom. So what you do is you push that in and pull it out. And that gives you 10-15 minutes of wide open dampener. So it gets plenty of air. And then this one up here is the one on the bottom will time out and close. And then this will be like your throttle. So that's full air. And this will damp it down, and it'll slows down the air so it burns longer. But I leave this wide open. I leave the door cracked a little bit, and just give it a 5-10 minutes to really get ripping. Then I'll come in, I'll shut the door and damp it down, and this thing will burn good 6, 7, 8 hours.